Okay. So you could tell from the title of this video that it's not going to be some sort of profound revelation of truth, but even though it will be more along the lines of Bible trivia, I hope that you'll still find it interesting. We're told about John the Baptist's unusual wilderness survival diet in Matthew 3, verse 4, where it says, "And John himself was clothed in camel's hair, with a leather belt around his waist, and his food was locusts and wild honey." And some have questioned, did the prophet John, also known as John the Baptist, really eat bugs? Well, first I've got to admit that even though I wouldn't want to eat bugs, I've never had a problem believing that John did, only because we know there are a lot of things that people in the past ate and that people in the present still eat that we wouldn't want to eat, like ants and grasshoppers, and I, for one, have no desire to eat frogs, snakes, or snails, or the alligators that some people eat in my country. So I'd just say no thank you to all of the above. But I think we can all agree that in different times and places, and in different cultures around the world, food preferences vary, and what's absolutely repulsive to some can be a great delicacy to others. Even so, most of us would probably feel, well, let's just say a bit bugged if we were to go into a restaurant and find locusts on the menu. So it's not at all surprising that some people find it kind of, shall we say, hard to swallow that John the Baptist actually ate insects in the wilderness, and that they therefore would try to find some other way to explain his seemingly distasteful diet. It was some years ago when I first heard this mentioned. A Bible teacher was saying that the Greek word for locust could possibly be referring to a type of plant, and that he believed this must be the case because he simply couldn't imagine anyone eating locusts. Well, as God would have it, a friend mentioned this same possibility in a letter the other day, and as I pondered that possibility, the thought suddenly came to me to do a search to see if locusts are still eaten any place in the world. I now believe that it was the Lord who inspired that thought, because the results of this search nearly knocked me right out of my chair, for there at the top of the list was, of all things and all places, Israel, the very home of John the Baptist. And so with a single click I found myself looking at a BBC report titled "Eating Locusts: The Crunchy Kosher Snack Taking Israel by Swarm." This article informed me that part of Israel had been hard hit with a swarm of locusts in March of this year, and that many Israelis were out gathering the locusts for supper, or in some cases for dessert, since there are apparently recipes for chocolate-covered locusts. As mentioned earlier, what's repulsive to some is a delicacy for others, and it was also reported in this same article that the chef of a famous restaurant in Jerusalem was serving up locusts as a gourmet food. Yes, bugs were on the menu, and here they are, locusts, gourmet style. It looks like they might even be served on a lovely flower blossom to enhance the presentation. Bugs on a blossom. But this is apparently a popular dish in Israel, because the chef was quoted as saying, "There is a big interest. People will pay a fortune." And it seems that there are all sorts of locust recipes to choose from for those who prefer good old-fashioned home cooking as well. You can make breaded locust, deep-fried locust, pan-fried locust, locust French fries, and of course those ever-tempting chocolate-covered locusts. And yes, as the headline so boldly declared, these particular bugs are indeed kosher, And you'll find God's seal of approval on them in Leviticus 11, verse 22, where it says, "Even these of them ye may eat, the locust after his kind, and the bald locust after his kind, and the beetle after his kind, and the grasshopper after his kind." So the answer to our question, did John the Baptist really eat bugs, appears to be a resounding yes. So let's review the evidence. First, John lived in the wilderness, where insects would have been in good supply, and apparently not much else was. Second, locusts are on God's dietary list of approved foods for the children of Israel, so they were fit for even a prophet. Third, should further proof be needed, locusts are still eaten in Israel to this day, and as we've seen, they're even considered by some to be a gourmet food. So, hey, how bad can they be? Especially since John could have sweetened them up with his honey and had candied locusts. Behold, a prophetic sweet treat that foretold of the chocolate-covered locusts to come. And fourth, we know from biblical archaeology that back in John's time, the nearest McDonald's was way over on the other side of Israel. So what's a good prophet to do? In lieu of Chicken McNuggets, he just had to settle for the local Locust McBuggets. So in light of all this overwhelming evidence, I do hope that the great debate over this subject can finally be put to rest. Brothers and sisters, we have to face it. The Lord's prophet John the Baptist ate bugs. He who has an ear, let him hear. And may the Lord bless you and keep you always under his wings. Oh, and if you don't like to have dinner guests, then don't miss that recipe for those locust French fries in the description box below. One look at a pile of bugs on their plate will scare them off forever, guaranteed.